Imagine going down to the river's edge and you put your canoe in the river and you deliberately point it upstream. And you begin paddling against the current. And we say, oh, turn it around and go with the current. And humans say, oh, that's just too lazy for me. And anyway, I want to be one of the virtuous ones. I want to paddle upstream with the rest of my tribe. And we say, but why would you want to paddle upstream? And you say, because everybody else is doing it. And we say, not everyone. There are some that are paddling downstream. And you say, oh, yes, those are the lazy ones. But the virtuous ones are the ones that are paddling against the current. Look how good I've gotten at it, and I'm not all that old. I learned it from my mother, who got really good at it before she died of being tired of paddling upstream. And we say, why not turn and just go with the flow? And you say, oh, Abraham, I want a monument in my name. I want those plaques and awards. You got to really suffer a lot in order to have anybody think anything about you. If you're going to have a bestseller book, it seems that you have to dig a very deep hole for yourself and really suffer and document every bloody, awful part of it. And then when you crawl out of the hole, they'll all cheer and they'll buy your book. And that's what I want. I want to really amount to something. And we say, you have amounted to something. The fact that you're here is all of the justification that is necessary. You are worthy beings. You are born on this stream of pure positive energy. You have come forth into an environment that will inspire you to more. Just turn and go with the flow. Even more. You don't even have to turn and paddle with the current. You don't even have to turn. Just stop paddling upstream. Let go of it. Let go of what he did to you 25 years ago. He's dead. It doesn't matter. Let go of what she said yesterday. She didn't mean it. She didn't mean it the way you took it. She doesn't even understand the way you took it. Let it go. Do not use these petty, inconsequential things anymore as your excuse to deprive yourself of going with the flow. Jerry and Esther had such fun. They went whitewater rafting in Colorado a few weeks ago. When they put their raft in the water, it became immediately apparent that they were not going to have any effect at paddling upstream. This was a fast-moving river. And you have a fast-moving river too. In other words, you cannot paddle upstream and get anywhere. In other words, you're not going to get upstream. All you're going to do is hold yourself in resistance to the stream. Their river guide said to them, friends, this isn't Disneyland and we can't turn this river off. And we want to say the same thing to you. The river will not stop. The river continues to flow. And in fact, the reason that it flows the way it does is because you're living life and asking for more and more and more. And as you ask for more, Source becomes it and calls you forward. That's what causes that current. Do you know that there's only one powerful stream, and it's a stream of well-being? There's not a stream of sickness pulling you off or tempting you off or getting you when you're not looking, or a stream of evil or a stream of darkness. There's only this stream of well-being which you're allowing yourself to go with or not. And we understand how you might want to call it a bad stream if you don't let yourself go with it, because the speed of the current when you stand in resistance will beat you up pretty good. Jerry and Esther's river guide said to them, see those big boulders in the middle of the stream? They were easy to see. Water was gushing up all around them. That's a class 4 rapid, he explained to them. And if we do not maneuver our raft around that effectively, if we get pinned in among those rocks, this stream will beat the life right out of us. And then he called their attention to page 3, paragraph 5 of the disclaimer they had signed, which had made it perfectly evident that there was very little chance that any of them would survive this river trip. Esther didn't read it. She read the first paragraph and said, I'll take your word for it. I don't want to even think about what could happen. We want you to understand that since your desires are what cause the speed of the river, when you get resistant to a river that you've got flowing, that river will beat you up too. That's what negative emotion is. That's what physical discomfort is. That's what physical pain is. And that's what every disease known to man is. If you're sick, it's because you got a raging river going by virtue of what you've been living, and you're not going with the flow. Something's got your attention, and it usually is, I'm looking at what is instead of about where I want to go. I'm talking about what I want, but I'm pointing out I don't have it. And I'm so irritated that I don't have it, because every fiber in my being knows I should be going with the flow and knows I should have it. And the more I don't have this thing that I want, the worse I feel. And the worse I feel, the more I talk about it. And the more I talk about it, the more others talk about it. I've joined those groups, those online groups. There are many of us that feel the same way about this. I have developed an art of resistance about this. I can tell you every single thing in the world that is wrong with me not getting what I want. And we say, well, let's talk about what you do want. And you say, well, I don't have any words for that, but let me tell you where I am, and maybe you can help me. And we say, well, let's not talk about where you are for very long. Let's talk about where you want to be. Well, I don't know where I want to be. I've never been there. I wasn't born there. I was born over here. And nobody that I know is over there. Only the people that are really lucky or really rich are over there. And we say, you got to stop doing that. You've got to find a way of turning and going with the flow. We want you to understand that while these good feeling emotions are really what you are wanting to live by, you're wanting to reach the place where they dominate your day-to-day emotional experience. We also want you to understand that in the same way that you can't set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7 FM, you can't go from a strong negative emotion to a strong positive emotion immediately. The frequencies are very different. And law of attraction is bringing you circumstances and events and evidence and thoughts and things from your memory. Law of attraction is lining you up with things that are pretty close to where you are. In fact, law of attraction is matching your vibration precisely. So if you're waiting around for things to change so that you can then proclaim a more positive sound in response to what has happened, it doesn't work that way. People say, give me what I want and then I'll start talking more positively. And we say, start talking more positively and then you'll get what you want. You cannot get what you want until you are speaking what you want. You must begin to say, I will speak of what I want. I will think of what I want. I will give my attention to what I want. Today, no matter where I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm doing it with, it is my dominant intent to look for that which I am wanting to see. Because those thoughts are downstream thoughts. Pointing out what's wrong is always an upstream thought. Talking about how bad it is, looking for reasons to criticize. Recognize that when you give your attention to something, you are emitting a vibration that law of attraction is responding to. And when law of attraction is responding to a thought that is within you that is contrary to what you really want, you've got yourself rooted to the floor of the stream. And depending on how long you do it and how fast the stream is moving, that stream which you created, which is God force, which is love itself, will make you feel bad. Not because it's a bad stream, but because you are holding yourself in resistance to it. Don't you just love knowing that? Doesn't it clear everything up? Doesn't it make you understand everything that you've ever lived? Doesn't it help you to understand everything that you've ever witnessed anybody else living? You can't tell so much by what you see on television because you're not privy to the vibrational countenance of those people. But anything that you've seen up close and personal, you know that negative emotion has always been present when things did not work out for you. And now you know why. You just cannot hold yourself in resistance to the self-created stream and not be negatively affected. And every time you turn and go with the flow, you thrive a little. And this is the part that we want you to take away more than all other things put together. The moment of relief is when you drop the oars and let the stream turn you. There is a moment of relief there every single time. So if you are reaching for the relief factor, what you will begin to notice is you're dropping the oars, you're turning in the stream, you're beginning to allow yourself to be carried to where you want to be. And we want you to know that there are delicious aspects of life everywhere in this stream. Can you imagine Jerry and Esther saying to their river guide, where are we going to take this boat out, they might ask. And he would say, many miles downstream, close to Fort Collins. And they could say, well, we want to put our raft back on the bus, and we want to drive back down, and we want to put our raft in really close to where we're going to take it out. We like instant manifestation. And he would say, all right, if that's what you want, but I thought you wanted a ride on the river. And this is the thing that we want to say to any of you who are feeling frustration or sadness or desperation or any negative emotion about some unfulfilled desire. We want to say, we thought you wanted a ride on the river. And then you would say, we wanted a shorter ride on the river. And we would say, no, you want an eternal ride on the river. And then you would say, but I really wanted it to not take so long from when I want something and I float into the experience of it. And we say, then drop the oars. Because the only time you need oars is when you're paddling against the current. And when you're not paddling against the current will carry you. And when the current carries you, it will carry you into all of the circumstances and events and experiences that you've been asking for. So if you're reaching for the relief factor, if you get it, if you leave here today knowing, all I got to do is feel a little better. And we want to say to you, that's enough. And then we want to say to you, not only is it enough, it's got to be enough because it's all you got. It's all you have. You cannot jump vibrational frequencies. All you can do is turn in the stream and let the natural stream carry you. And it is our promise to you, because we have seen your vibrational escrow. Do you know what we mean by that? Every time you lived through some contrasting experience and you gave birth to a rocket of desire, that rocket of desire is held for you in vibrational escrow. It never goes away. You've heard us say that before, but do you get what that means? When you, in your body, cause the non-physical part of you to expand and become something more, that non-physical part of you holds that place. That non-physical part of you becomes that which your life has caused it to become, and it doesn't slip back from it. It keeps adding all the life experience that you give to it. In other words, that's why you are an eternal being. Do you get who you are? Can you just imagine who you must have been coming in? Can you imagine the promise of destiny that was within you in the day that you were born? The level of worthiness and beingness that is being offered. That's that call of source, you see. And when your grandmother said, oh, I love you, you are magnificent, and you felt all of that wonderful emotion moving through you, that emotion moving through you was you pointing your attention towards something that was so in harmony with who the non-physical part of you is, that you became one in that moment, you see. Tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the vibration that is really who you are. So all day here today, we'll be talking about who you really are. And we want you to leave this gathering with this very clear perspective of this non-physical being that you were before you were born, are now. This non-physical you that was born into this physical experience. And that non-physical part of you that spends not a moment focused upon what is not wanted. In the moment that your life causes you to synthesize a preference. And do you know you don't even have to give words to it? You don't have to say, I proclaim to the God of all gods that I want this. You don't have to put it to words. All you have to do is live the experience. The desires are born naturally. Even if you are a one-celled organism, this is happening to you, you see. This is what the evolution of all species is about. This is what the expansion of the universe is about. The only question is, what are you doing about staying up to speed with you? And the answer is, if you don't feel good, you're not up to speed. And if you feel great, you are. And if you're feeling better and better, you're getting more up to speed. And if you're feeling worse and worse, you're not. Don't be hard on yourself. You've learned a lot from those who are around you. We started there today by talking about this upstream learning that you've adapted to. And we understand that there are so many people that are living around you who have made an art of paddling upstream, that it's not the easiest thing in the world. You might look strange if you do not paddle upstream. We just want you to know that as you now understand this, and you begin to watch what's going on in your world around you, you now have knowledge of who you are and how to get to everything that you want.